Beloved, this moment is no accident. God has divinely orchestrated it just for you. Every trial, every silent tear, every unseen battle was not wasted. Heaven watched as you held on, even when it hurt, even when no one else saw. You walked through fire and came out refined, not broken. Your faith didn't falter. You trusted, you stayed faithful, you endured. God was with you every step, shaping you for His purpose. Now stand tall in the truth. You've overcome, not because you were perfect, but because you believed. This is your confirmation. God has chosen you. This is your divine confirmation. You didn't just endure the storm, you grew through it. Your journey, though marked by trials and tears, is proof of God's sustaining grace. You are standing today, not by your strength alone, but by His power working within you. Through pain, loss, and seasons of silence, God never left your side. His hand upheld you when you felt weak. His love carried you when you couldn't see the way. Every hardship was part of a greater plan, a refining fire preparing you for the calling ahead. You are a living testimony of faith, resilience, and divine purpose. Hold on to hope. Greater things are still to come. You are not here by accident. This is God's divine plan unfolding in your life. Every trial, every tear, every silent season was not meant to break you, but to build you. It wasn't abandonment, it was preparation. Heaven saw it all, and you passed the test. You chose integrity over compromise, faith over fear, and endurance over escape. You've been refined, not ruined, strengthened, not shaken. This moment marks a new beginning, a divine shift. You weren't called to comfort, you were chosen for purpose. And now, by God's grace, you step into the greatness He prepared for you. Before we begin this sacred journey, pause and share this with someone who needs hope. Like it, hold it close, and follow not just for words, but for truth. This is for the called, the ones refined by fire, ready to rise into divine purpose and power. We'll walk together through 7 chapters that reveal the purpose behind your pain, the strength in your silence, and the calling written over your life. This is your story, and it's just beginning. If something is stirring in your spirit, don't ignore it. Comment 77. As a sign of agreement with heaven, a symbol that you're aligned, awakened, and ready. Not everyone will make it to the end, but those who do will find clarity, healing, and breakthrough. Return to this message often. The Holy Spirit reveals truth in layers, each time deeper and stronger. Let it ignite your soul. Chapter 1. The Hidden Test. Life doesn't always give warnings. Storms often arrive unannounced. One moment feels stable, the next, everything is shaken. No signs, no instructions, just a sudden test that hits your faith, your identity, your strength. Others may not have seen the battle, but God did. Every tear, every silent prayer, every time you chose faith over fear, He saw it all. This wasn't to break you, but to build you. It was preparation, not punishment. You weren't being tested for the life you have, but for the purpose you're stepping into. Heaven knows what you carry, and the proof, you're still standing. Like a sudden wind, the storm came, quiet but fierce. People left, plans fell apart, the weight grew heavier, and prayers seemed unanswered. You stood in a battlefield no one saw coming. But what they didn't see was your strength, the smile through the pain, the help you gave while needing help yourself. You wore courage like a cloak and carried grace when you felt like breaking. But God saw it all. Every tear, every prayer, every moment you stood firm when giving up felt easier. While others missed your pain, heaven remembered. This wasn't about breaking you. It was about revealing you. God was uncovering the strength, resilience, and purpose He placed in you long before the storm. You weren't abandoned. You were being equipped. The storm didn't come to destroy you. It came to awaken you. You showed up with grace while carrying silent battles. And through it all, God never let go. The test that revealed you. There were days you questioned everything. You prayed through silence, felt the weight of loss, and wondered if God had forgotten you. "Why me, Lord?" echoed in your heart more times than you can count. And yet, you held on, quietly, humbly, faithfully. A still, small voice within kept whispering, "Don't give up, there's more." That voice was God. He never left. Even when you couldn't feel Him, He was there, strengthening you, shaping you, walking you through the fire. This wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The test wasn't about perfection, it was about persistence. It wasn't about what others saw, it was about who you became when no one was watching. You didn't compromise, you didn't quit. You stood when it would have been easier to fall. That's what makes you chosen. That's what sets you apart. Heaven saw the fight, the tears, the endurance, and called it worthy. You passed not by your strength, but by His grace. Now the foundation is set, the refining is complete, and God is ready to build something greater through you. This was never the end. This was the beginning. Chapter 2. Silence in the storm. There's a silence that goes beyond the absence of sound, a silence that fills your spirit. It's the quiet that follows the cries, the prayers, the desperate pleas to heaven when your soul feels like it's unraveling. In those moments, you may feel abandoned, as if God has turned away. But that silence is not empty, it's sacred. It is in the stillness that God is often closest, working behind the scenes, refining your heart and strengthening your faith in ways you can't yet see. When you've given all you have, your questions, your doubts, your pain, and you are met with nothing but silence, it can feel like a sign of rejection. But it's actually a sign of divine preparation. God isn't absent in your pain. He's present, working in you, strengthening your trust. This is where faith grows, not based on immediate answers, but on the trust that even if I don't hear you, I know you're still here. That quiet season wasn't a sign of abandonment. It was a time where your faith was being forged. It was the moment where your heart was being refined, where you learned to rely on God's character rather than on feelings or circumstances. God wasn't testing your knowledge, He was testing your heart. Would you still trust Him when there was no sign of change? Would you continue to move forward even without the answers you so desperately wanted? You might have asked, why this silence? But that silence was not your defeat, it was your becoming. It was in those moments that your trust in God deepened, and you learned to stand firm even when the path was unclear. You kept praying when you couldn't see any answers, kept moving when the way forward seemed blocked. Even in the quiet, you chose to believe, choosing trust over fear, faith over doubt. And in that silence, God was preparing you for what's ahead. The faith you built in those moments, the faith that didn't demand answers or breakthroughs, is the kind of faith that can move mountains. It's the kind of faith that doesn't rely on the visible, but on what you know to be true, that God is faithful, even in the silence. This is the faith that sustains you when nothing makes sense. It's the quiet trust that says, even in the silence, I will keep moving forward. And when you come through this season, you'll realize that you weren't just surviving. You were growing. You were being shaped by the very silence that seemed so deafening. The silence didn't break you, it built you. You were being refined in the quiet moments, learning to rely on God's strength and trusting in His timing. And now, as you stand on the other side of that stillness, you are stronger, more rooted in your faith, and more prepared for the purpose God has for you. The silence was never about God's absence, it was about God's presence, shaping you into the person He always knew you could be. Chapter 3. No shortcuts, no compromises. In a world where shortcuts are often the easier path and success is valued more than integrity, it's easy to feel the pull to compromise. People lie, pretend, manipulate, and deceive to get ahead. But when the world said, "Do whatever it takes to succeed," you chose a different way. You stood firm in your convictions, even when it meant taking the harder route. You could have cut corners, played the game, and bent your values for temporary success, but you didn't. You chose to trust God's timing and plan, even when it meant waiting longer or working harder. You refused to let go of your integrity, even when the world tempted you with shortcuts. Your journey wasn't about rushing to the finish line, it was about honoring God with every step, knowing that His reward is worth more than any temporary gain. This wasn't about weakness, it was about strength. To choose righteousness over revenge, truth over convenience, and purity over popularity takes courage the world doesn't often recognize, but heaven surely does. You didn't let pain make you bitter or success make you prideful. You didn't let rejection define your worth. You remained faithful to who God created you to be, and that is the kind of strength that's recognized in the kingdom. You didn't just survive the challenges, you shined. Your integrity was tested, and you passed. You refused to compromise, and now you carry something far more valuable than status or success: spiritual weight. You've been found faithful, and God sees it all, even the quiet battles no one else knew you fought. Choosing the harder path, the one that honors God, even when no one is watching, doesn't always bring instant rewards. But the rewards it does bring are eternal: a character that lasts, favor that doesn't fade, and a legacy built on truth. This is the kind of success that aligns with purpose and heaven's approval. You didn't just endure the test, you came out refined, stronger, and more resilient. You chose to walk in integrity even when it would have been easier to compromise. And now, your foundation is unshakable. You've built a life that can't be torn down because it's rooted in truth. Because you've remained true to your values, you've become the kind of person who carries breakthrough with them. Your faith runs deep, and the transformation you've undergone is proof that God has been with you every step of the way. And because you chose the path of integrity, God can trust you with more. This is your reward, not just survival, but significance. You've proven that success isn't about how fast you get there or what you gain, but about staying true to who God called you to be. And now, you're stepping into a future marked by purpose, favor, and divine authority. Chapter 4. The breaking that built you. There were times when it felt like too much, when the weight of the burden was unbearable, the pressure so intense that you wondered if you could keep going. The pain ran so deep, and the struggles seemed endless, as if every step forward only led to more resistance. You bent, you stumbled, and at times you wanted to give up. But even in those moments, you didn't fall apart. You cried, you struggled, but you didn't quit. And that's when you began to realize that the breaking wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to build you. Even when everything felt silent, God was working. Behind the pain, behind the pressure, behind the waiting, he was refining you. What felt like breaking wasn't the end. It was the beginning of becoming who he created you to be. The battles you faced weren't meant to defeat you, but to strengthen you. The delays weren't denials, they were divine preparation. God was stripping away what couldn't stay, making room for deeper strength, clearer purpose, and unwavering faith. When you felt alone, he was closest. When you had nothing left, his grace held you together. The silence wasn't a sign of his absence. It was the sound of your growth. The fire didn't destroy you, it shaped you. The pressure didn't crush you, it formed a foundation for something greater. Now you can see it more clearly. Every tear, every trial, every unanswered prayer had a purpose. You weren't just surviving the storm, you were being shaped in it. You've come through the fire, refined and ready, stronger, wiser, more faithful. This isn't the end of your story. It's the launch of a new beginning. You've been prepared for this, and the best part is, you're just getting started. Chapter 5, Hidden Grades, Heavenly Promotion. Hidden Victories. Many of your victories were unseen. Moments when you chose forgiveness, kept going despite hardship, or stayed faithful when no one was watching. While the world missed it, heaven took note of every quiet sacrifice. God's view of promotion. God doesn't measure success by public recognition. He rewards hidden faithfulness, character, and obedience, even in the unseen moments when no one else is watching. Those moments were preparing you for divine promotion. Faithfulness in the quiet. Your promotion isn't based on external success, but on your heart and faithfulness. You've proven yourself by staying steady in the quiet, trusting God even when it wasn't easy. Your faithfulness in private is what's shaping your future. Your promotion is already happening. God is already elevating you, not through applause, but by changing your heart and deepening your purpose. The doors that once seemed closed are now opening, not by your effort, but by divine timing and favor. The best is yet to come. The challenges you faced have been refining you for this moment. Keep moving forward in faith, knowing God is revealing His plan for you. Your promotion is not just about external success, but about becoming who God always intended you to be. Chapter 6. Set apart before you're set ahead. Before God sets you ahead, He often sets you apart. The season of loneliness, closed doors, and unanswered prayers wasn't a sign of rejection. It was divine preparation. While others moved forward, you were in a quiet place, not forgotten, but being refined. God was teaching you to depend on Him, to hear His voice above the noise, and to find your identity not in others' approval, but in Christ alone. This hidden season wasn't punishment, it was protection for the purpose He placed within you. Those who are called are often first misunderstood. Your path was lonely because your calling is unique, and God needed to remove you from certain people and places to preserve what He was doing inside you. Now, as you emerge from that quiet season, you're stronger, clearer, and more confident. You've learned to stand without applause, trust without answers, and lead without needing approval. You no longer chase validation because you carry vision. The vision, refined in solitude, is what sets you apart. You are not behind, you are being positioned. Every moment in the wilderness was preparing you for what's next. What once felt like delay will soon be revealed as destiny. You didn't just survive, you were shaped, strengthened, and set apart to lead with authenticity, courage, and grace. Now you are ready. Chapter 7. Now you lead. Now you teach. This is your moment. The season of hidden preparation is over, and God is calling you to rise, lead, and make an impact. Every challenge, tear, and quiet victory has shaped you for this purpose. You've walked through fire, faced storms, and endured when giving up would have been easier. In your perseverance, God built a strong foundation for your purpose. Now, the lessons learned are the tools that will empower others you teach from experience, not theory. You know what it's like to wrestle with doubt and pain, and that depth gives your leadership power. Your story is the testimony that will guide others. God has entrusted you with a mission. Your success isn't about climbing higher, but lifting others along the way. Stay humble, grounded, and remember where you came from. You've been tested, refined, and now you're ready. This is your assignment. Step forward. The world is waiting. Lead and teach with grace.